connecting from home, and as I using just directly the internet, on the internet actually those tags cannot be applied. Usually that's why you also modify those settings in your own networking devices. So definitely just keep in mind. Some cases maybe using also VPN. Some cases actually it's not a good idea to use QoS over VPN links. So definitely be aware of that. And that's how you can just give a high priority for that traffic related to audio video communications. So a couple of things also have available, basically to have that visibility, what's going on in terms of communications, if actually users are having like a good user experience or not. So definitely can also create reports, and on those reports basically can also create labels. Basically can create a definition of your physical location. So say this is my main office, this is all the different branches. You can assign also the definition based on IP addresses that are used by each one of those locations, and after that you can also create and get that visibility, how the traffic is flowing between all those different locations in a detailed well. So we have also those reports available from there on the Teams Admin Center. And the last lesson for this module is deploy and manage Microsoft Teams endpoints. So here definitely talk more in detail about the clients that we can use. So of course things like mobile devices can also have a Teams client installed. So definitely can expand on those capabilities. Is also important to plan that beforehand, how we will deploy and manage the installation of those clients for Teams. So that's this last lesson. So let's start with a quick overview of all the different Teams clients. So in this case, keep in mind you have desktop clients, and we have also a desktop client available for all the major operating systems, like Windows, of course, also for macOS and also for Linux. So we have a client for all those different operating systems. We also have also that web client. In this case, using any browser, you can just connect to teams.microsoft.com and also have the same capabilities but on a web interface. So most browsers support this web client. That's just a good idea. Make sure you're always using like the latest version of the browser, and they will support definitely most of those different capabilities available on that web interface. And the last one, also popular nowadays, definitely in some cases those are remote workers or first line workers. In this case, they likely for help something like mobile clients. So for those mobile clients, definitely support client for Android, client for iOS. So definitely those are supported nowadays. Back in the days you used to have a client also for Windows Phone, but now actually is no longer maintained. That's actually only support for now Android and iOS. So how we can handle that deployment? Multiple ways in this case to deploy that client of Teams to the devices. So the first one, if this is that desktop client, we can use, for example, just double check first that you're running like a supported operating system. In this case, the minimum requirement is to have at least Windows 8.1 or later, and if this is a Windows Server operating system, at least running 2012 or 2 or later. So we have also an installer for both 32 and 64 bits. For macOS, at least 10.10 or later, and for Linux we support both dev and RPM format for Teams clients. Definitely most distributions like CentOS, Red Hat would support those RPM packages, and also for that dev, most also Debian-based distributions will support that type of package. Keep in mind another way of distributing also or deploying that Teams client could be also using something like VDI, virtual desktop environments or infrastructure. So definitely you'll take the time to cover that in more detail in the upcoming slides. And for the team mobile clients, mine just will depend. You need to grab that client if this is Android from that Google store, and if this is iOS, definitely you need to grab from that App Store. Also for that web client, basically just make sure you have the latest version of that browser available, and in this case super important how you also will manage the update. Keep in mind that now actually we're introducing new features every 2 weeks, so super important, make sure you're running the latest version so that you can definitely leverage all those latest and greatest features that we're adding every 2 weeks.